record. We're good, ready to go.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to some. My name is Gregory Sneed, and welcome to today's community briefing. Today is September 16, 2021, and our guest today is Danny Bakewell Jr. My name is Gregory Sneed, and I have a company, LifeSaver Financial Services, where I help my clients keep more of the money they make. You may be making money, but you need to keep more of it, and I can help my clients do that. I'll have information in the chat room and be glad to have a conversation with you and see how we can be of service. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the queen of our community briefing, Miss Crystal Mitchell.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to have you. Glad to welcome to the community business briefing or briefing. We are here. This platform is not just for us, it's for you guys. It's for us to connect as a community, to introduce you and to introduce you to leaders and stakeholders in our community that are doing amazing things, so that you will hear firsthand what is happening in and around our city. So thank you for coming. This program is supported and sponsored by Recycling Black Dollars and the BBA. I am Crystal Mitchell. I am a business coach and consultant for our small business community, and I am there to help and make sure that we're moving forward and our businesses are scaling and growing, and we're doing it with solid businesses. So welcome. I have a great team here, Stephen Turner, our great producer, and Ms. Robin Billups, our moderator of all moderators, and Mr. Gregory Sneed. Couldn't do this without him. And we have our correspondent, Ms. Colette Moore, that bring us up to the date in the moment information from PCR and the SBCA. So thank you guys. And we got a great guest today, Danny, definitely a community leader. And so with that, I am going to turn it over. Oh, before I turn it over to Robin, wow, we turned out for the election on the 14th. We made a major point that our voices matter and that every time we have an election, we're going to be out there. Our next major election is going to be for the mayor. We need to make sure everybody's accountable. Now, Newsom, you in there? Now be accountable, dude. Now I turn it over to Robin.
Hey, you guys, I'm always excited to be here. Robin Billups, the connector. I'm excited. Crystal just stole my thunder because I was going to entreat our audience for the support that you provided on the vote. You know, we just had this recall cost about $250 million. Those dollars were not used in the community. They were used to protect our vote. And so again, while, you know, we have these elections going on, I just ask you all to continue to be actively engaged in your civic responsibility, because these votes are not necessarily for us currently. This is what we're working for, legacy and opportunity for our future generations. So please continue to stay engaged. Please continue to stay connected to the community briefing. Please continue to read your local community newspaper, such as the Sentinel, because we want you to have the best information that you can have. And so I'm excited about our presenter today. He's my friend, he's my brother, and I'm a real estate junkie. So, you know, I'm looking forward to this conversation. And we got some great stories we could tell between the two of us about that. But again, we want to get it kicked off. So I'm going to pass it right back to Greg, and he's going to get us started.
Thank you very much, Robin and Crystal and Stephen. So today we have Mr. Danny Bakewell Jr. And if you live in the Los Angeles area, this man needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway. Danny Bakewell Jr., he personifies the word multitasker. He's an executive vice president of the Bakewell Company, one of the nation's largest and most successful African-American owned real estate development companies. And he has helped develop and build and manage over a 4.5 million square feet of residential, retail, office, industrial, and commercial space in Los Angeles, Compton, Hawthorne, Pasadena, Inglewood, and Seaside, California. But that's not all. He's also the executive editor and chief of staff of Bakewell Media, and they own the Los Angeles Sentinel, the largest African-American newspaper west of the Mississippi. The LA Watch Times and Taste of Soul Family Festival is all part of their enterprise. But it's like a session of Hey Man, because he don't have just 2 jobs. He got like 3 jobs. He got 4 jobs. He's also a licensed general contractor, both in the state of California and Louisiana. So he oversees the day-to-day operations of the Bakewell Company. So that includes real estate development, construction management, property management, parking concessions, and media. He does it all. He's a graduate of USC and also the USC Real Estate Development and Finance program. He's not just a businessman, he's also a community advocate and understands that great success comes from responsibility. He got the USC Black Alumnus of the Year Award, Developer of the Year by the Minority Contractors Association. And on top of that, he's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity.
Woo-hoo.
And his other job is that he's got a family and 4 kids. That's a job in itself, isn't it? Please welcome Danny Bakewell Jr.
Thank you, Greg. Greg, I'm gonna take you on the road with me. You can do my introduction anytime. So,
Yo.
you know, yo, what's up, Michael? Look, hey, I'm excited to be here, and it really is a blessing and an honor to be here. And as I look at this screen, you know, I see so many friends. I look forward to the day when we can all be in a room together. Hopefully we get this COVID thing behind us. But, you know, I'm glad to see everybody here. You know, I mean, my story is pretty simple. I had a father who started a real estate development business. Most people don't know. We have a real estate development business. Some people do, some people don't. But he started a real estate development business about 40 years ago. And over time, many of the major retail developments within our community are Bakewell Company developments. If you know the city of Compton, the 2 large city shopping centers directly across the street from Compton City Hall are 2 of Compton Renaissance Plaza and Compton Town Center are both Bakewell projects. For those of you who live in and around USC, the Ralph's grocery store on the corner of Vernon and Vermont and Adams is a Bakewell project. In Pasadena, we have a shopping center on the corner of Lake and Washington, as well as a shopping center on the corner of Fair Oaks and Orange Grove, and then a business park further up the street on Fair Oaks as well. As many of you know, we used to own the Hawthorne Mall for a number of years. You know, been a lot of conversation about malls, in particular the Crenshaw Mall. And as I've talked to people, I said, look, as the only African-American who has owned a mall in Southern California, let me tell you that's a major task. So we were talking about that. And I've also done a 380 single family planned community in Seaside, California on what was the old Fort Ord military base, and currently entitled to do another 1,400 homes on Fort Ord right next to Cal State Monterey Bay. So look, it's probably, Crenshaw and Vernon, the Bakewell building where Chase is, which a lot of people see. We previously also owned the shopping center at Crenshaw and Slaton. So my hands, my body, my family, we are committed to this community and we continue to do it. Brings you to why we're here today, which a lot of people have heard and read about the fact that the Bakewell Company, in partnership with the Michaels organization, and I see a number of our architectural partners from Perkins and Wills who are on here, Drake Dillard and Gabrielle. I thought I saw Gabrielle. I know I saw her earlier. Oh, there she is. Gabrielle Bullock is also on, but I see a lot of friends. And, you know, Slauson and Wall, if you know Slauson Avenue, has needed development for a long time. The only thing that has been there and operating for years is the Brotherhood Crusade. Brotherhood Crusade has been on that site for well over 40 years, and it is an institution in and of itself on Slauson. So I applaud Councilman Kern Price for having the vision to want to re-energize that part of the city, put out an RFP And we talked about it, we looked at it, we said, this is a development we want to do, we're committed to doing. And in order to do it, it was an RFP process. It was open bid, everybody put together a team, put together an idea. And what our task was to put together the best team that really understood this community, that really wanted to see not only a good development, but a team that understood what the community needed, wanted, and had the vision to really create a world-class development right there on Slauson between Los Angeles Street and Wall. The Michaels organization, which is a major affordable housing developer throughout the nation. The vice president of development here in Los Angeles is a woman by the name of is Keisha, and I can't think of Keisha's last name all of a sudden for some strange reason. But Michael's organization, for those of you who don't know, they Keisha Boulware, that was gonna bother me for a minute. Keisha Boulware is the vice president for the Michaels organization. For those of you who don't know, the Michaels organization has overseen the redevelopment of a major part of the Jordan Downs housing project. But they are an affordable housing developer across throughout the country. Right. One of the largest affordable housing developers throughout the nation, based in New Jersey. Keisha is an African-American woman. She's based out of the Sacramento area, but had been here in Los Angeles for a long time. So with that partnership, it was our responsibility to then find an architectural team that had the vision and understanding of the community to deliver that. That's where Perkins Wheels comes in. Those of you, everybody knows Drake and everybody knows Gabrielle. Not only are they the architects and lead team for Destination Crenshaw, they also were the architectural team that led the African American Museum project in Washington, DC. So all of us here have seen their work, and we brought that team together. And we continue to bring together a team. We have a SOM Skidwell Owens and Merrill, which is a affordable housing architect that is great. We have Studio MLA, which is an agricultural or landscape architectural team. GGA, which is another part of our team. So we brought together a full array of architects and designers that could put together a development that made sense both from a design-wise, service to community, and at the same time, really understood and had a vision towards what the community needed. In addition, we made some community partners. I mean, one of the things when you have this site, and matter of fact, let me back up a little bit and tell you about this site. So this site is—
Danny, when we talked the other day, you had a schematic that you were going to share. Did you want to put that up?
Now, you know, you're going to ask me to share my screen. You know,
okay, well, you keep talking and I'll pull that up.
Okay.
And,
yeah, if you pull it up, that'd be because, you know, I'm technically challenged. But
you talk about age or technology? Okay, keep
all
talking.
that, all the above. You see all this gray, you know. So, but I think, as you know, for those of you, it's about a little over 7 acre site. It's got a 2.5 to 3 acre park right in the middle. It's going to be about 552 housing units. 235 of those are going to be designated for low income, with a large portion of that being seniors. We've got about 50,000 square feet of retail space. Brotherhood Crusade is going to get a brand new office complex out of it. There are other partners in this development. So you get a brand new facility for Brotherhood Crusade that will have space for them to really be able to do a number of the programs that they want and need to do within this community, as they've been doing for years. So all of that's going on. One of the things in our design that we also realized is that, you know, we're going to have a lot of open walls. I mean, when you talk about buildings, you know, 3 and 4 stories tall, you got a lot of open space. We wanted to create an art concept. So we partnered with a community art group that I think a number of you know, Sepia Collective, that brings together a number of local artists, and brought them on board to help us recruit and incorporate some of the arts. It's reflective of this community, comes from this community. We are partnering with Vermont Slauson Economic Development Corporation so that a number of the local businesses that they work with, we can create some real brick and mortar opportunities for their businesses, be it coffee shops, restaurants, things like that. So again, we brought together not only a quality development team that understood what the community wanted and what the community needed, but was committed to making the community, to making it a first-class project for the community, because we know that's what we want, that's what we deserve. We weren't going to just throw a lot of things out there. And I think ultimately, when you look at this competitive process, we just had the best proposal. We had the best team. When you look at the scoring of the proposal, I mean, the next closest competitor was about 11 points away. If you know anything about a city competition, 11 points is a blowout, RFP process. Look, since all of this came out, I've gotten a lot of calls and a lot of congratulatory, congratulations on this. I didn't win the lottery, you guys. I won the right to spend $250 million. I didn't win $250 million. And it's going to take some work. It's going to take some creative financing. But we have the team, and we put together a team that is going to do that. Now, do I expect at the end of the day, 5, 6, 7 years from now, I'll probably do all right. But what people need to understand when we develop, in particular when we talk about developing within our community, the importance of having an African-American developer, a developer who comes from the community, who understands the community. It's the ripple effect. It's the recycling Black dollars concept. It's what Muhammad Nasruddin talked about years ago. God rest his soul, my good friend. It gives us the opportunity to invest in each other. If it wasn't for me as the developer, we wouldn't have a Perkins and Wills, and it wouldn't be a team that looked like Drake Dillard and Gabrielle Bullock leading our architectural team. It would not be an insurance company like RFP Insurance, who's going to be the insurance broker on this kind of a development. It would be a lot harder to get African-American contractors onto the project, as we see time and time again. But when we are at the top of the food chain, when we are the ones able to make those kinds of decisions, we are able to create opportunities, not only for ourselves, but opportunities for everybody else. I am not in this for my health. This is not a philanthropic endeavor. This is a business endeavor and a business decision. But you can find quality African Americans. Sometimes you got to work a little harder than everybody else. But when you are committed to empowering our community, you are happy to work a little harder, turn over a few more rocks, beg and plead a little more to create these opportunities, because that's what it takes for our community to be successful.
Okay, so I went through my emails, and I think the email guys and snatched up the picture. So we're going to keep talking. Talk to us about, you've given us an excellent overview of the development process, how you built a development team. Talk to us about the timing. What does the timing look like? Well,
I'm going to be real honest and very transparent. I don't really know right now. And the reason why that is because any of you who know this site has a lot of contamination in it. So as a result of all this contamination that we're talking about, the first phase of this project is going to be on the city to clean it up, to clean up this site and remove all of the contaminants. I mean, one of the things that's not going to happen is you're not going to get me buying and investing and putting money for it, and you're never going to get a bank to do it either. So that's it ain't my money; it's going to be the bank's money. So the truth is, no bank is going to put up the money without knowing that it's a clean site. So as a result, that's going to be up to the city. The city's going to have to get this site clean first and foremost. How long is that going to take? I want to believe that that's going to happen within the next 2 years. Right? I'm going to be cautiously optimistic that that's going to happen. and hopefully it will. And then from there, I'm sure our team will put together plans and get this done. Planning process under normal circumstances in a perfect world would take about 18 months to 2 years. But if any of you have tried to do anything in the city right now because of COVID, projects that you used to be able to walk in and get done over the counter now take 3 and 4 months.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to really honestly project. A lot of developers will kind of tell you whatever you want to hear. So it'd be easy to say, oh, we're going to break ground in 18 months, 2 years, and I'm going to deliver this to the community. Truth is, there's so many X factors in this right now. It's taken us 30 days just to get a meeting with the city to talk about the project. So
yeah, it's the beautiful thing is that it's a flat site, right? That remediation is a challenge, and remediation can take anywhere from 24 to 36 months, and depending on the process, are they gonna do hire a third party, yada yada yada. So some other questions that have come up. Here's Lamont Gibson. Congratulations on your incredible success. I would be quite interested to know whether you have used venture capital as a development source.
I have not. We have never used venture capital. We have always used just basic traditional bank financing. Not that I'm opposed to it. It's just not something we've done. We've developed hundreds of millions of dollars, if not close to billions of dollars worth of development at this point in our lifetime, starting with my dad. But we have not used venture capital at this point. Not that I'm not open to it. Just not something we've done historically.
Well, you and I we sat on a panel a couple of years ago talking about the banking relationship. And I think that, if you could just spend just a few seconds talking about how developing that banking relationship. So when opportunities come up, you have your banker relationship already in place versus looking for that relationship.
Absolutely. As a developer, you have to have banking relationships. You have to, truth be told, you have to have friends. You have to have people who know what you do and what you're capable of doing, so that you can have a conversation with them about what you envision and what you propose, and how to make that work, because they are ultimately investing in you, and they have to know that they're going to be able to get their money back. It's kind of like credit cards, guys. Banks do not get excited if you pay extra today and then miss a payment last month. They just want you to make the payment that you are required to make every month. That's just the reality of the situation. So banks want you to, to perform and produce, and your bankers need to know that. One of the things that I've raised on a number of occasions, since George Floyd's murder that we saw a little over a year ago, almost, I guess, a year and a half, 2 years ago now, is all of these banks that have come out and said, oh, we're going to invest, billions of dollars in the Black community. We're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And I've asked my friends who are bankers, I've said, let me ask you this. What's in it for Black people? What do we get? Do Black people do we get a lower interest rate? Did you lower the qualifying standards by which you're gonna loan this money? If I still have to qualify the same way, I gotta have X amount of money down, and I gotta have X credit, and then what favor did you do me? If you're taking me through, you were supposed to be making those loans from Jump Street.
Yeah.
So you've got to have those relationships with those banks to have those honest conversations that say, what about this? What about that? And you've got to create those relationships. And that's it.
A couple other development questions that come up. One of them is, any advice for any small developers, say 4 to 8 units? And let's let Carmen, this is from Carmen. Let's please understand that 1 to 4 units is residential. So once you hit 5 units and above, that's commercial real estate. So keep those two buckets separate, Carmen, and anybody else looking in the development process. Please understand that once you hit 5 units and above, you're in the commercial real estate game, versus 1 to 4 units is single family residential financing.
Okay, well, I do understand that. I am in the real estate business, but I'm looking at also developers that are looking at 4 units, so maybe I should have put 4 units and then /5+ units. But I'm just saying, does he have any advice for small developers is my question.
That was the question I posed. Thank you.
Well, Carmen, thank you. You know, Robin is a banker, so she got these real technical, 4 units.
Well, it's
versus
clarity,
5
right?
units.
It's
I got
clarity.
I
as a
know,
developer.
Robin.
I got you. As a developer, you're a developer whether you build in 1 house, 4 units, 10 units, or 100 units. You are still a
Right.
developer, like you
Right.
said. So my suggestion to you is just know your business. Understand what you are getting yourself into. Make these numbers work. Okay, there's no reason. I have so many people that I have met that tell me they're a developer. And I'll tell you, and you got to be patient. That's the other thing. You are not going to get rich fast. One of the things I'll tell you is, if any of you ever talk to me, you're going to hear me say this. Anybody walks up to me, I've had people walk up to me and tell me, I'm buying the Rio Hotel in Las Vegas, or I'm developing 10,000 units and that. And my first question is, oh, really? How long you been working on this project? Oh, I've been working on this for 6 months. I know right then that they not for real, because major development projects of any sort take long periods of time, right? You got to be patient. You got to be diligent. You have to do so many different things. So I'm saying for any developer of any size, first off, be patient. Know your business and make the numbers work. If the numbers don't work, there's no need to do a project. I mean, I'm just telling you, people get caught up in, the fanfare. They get caught up in, and have a great team. That's probably the bigger advice. You have to have a good team. Know your team. Have people that you can count on, that can perform, have quality architects, have a banking relationship, have a good insurance person, have somebody who can help you to put together a team that's going to make things work. That's my biggest advice to anybody doing a development project. You're only as good as the team around you.
You talked about the Slauson Avenue Wall project. You talked about a park. You talked about the Art Collective. Stephen Turner has notes here. You have plans for development of 525 apartments, including 280 non-subsidized apartments targeted at essential workers like teachers. Can you talk a little bit more about the residential development of that project? And two, we're looking at density, correct? We're looking at high rise.
Well, it's going to be 5. It's projected to be about 5 stories of housing that we're talking about. It is going to be workforce housing, and for those of you who need to understand workforce housing, there's what they call the MIA, median income area, or medium area income, and it's about 100. So it's really targeted for essential workers like firefighters, police officers, school teachers, nurses, people like that, people who make about 150% over the median income. Okay, it's not going to be, everybody wants to talk about and fearful of gentrification and all of these other things. So these are going to be targeted for working class people, for union workers who are looking to be able to afford a place here in Los Angeles, which is not easy to do. And so we are committed to that. It works for what we're trying to do, which is create opportunities. That's what this is about. This is about creating opportunities for our community, for the people who have lived and been living here for a long time, who often find themselves priced out of the market.
That's wonderful. We have Michael Anderson on here. Michael's been on here talking about the for sale development that he's working on that's transit focused. So thank you for that. Do you have any comments about the new developments that consist of single and 1 bedrooms that don't match our community demographics? I think people, and I'm just going to make a comment. I think that people, when you look at community demographics and what the needs are and what pencils out, you gotta, that's the other part that you talked about earlier, that the development has to pencil out. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think, look, I've said for several years, I mean, when you talk about these 1 bedroom and all of these things that don't meet our demographic, I don't know that it doesn't meet our demographic. I mean, that'd be the first thing I would say, because we have millennials just like everybody else. And when you talk about these little small units, you're talking about creating housing for millennials. I've got 4 kids, and my oldest is 28, my youngest is 23. If they want to own a home, home ownership is going to look a lot different today than it looked for our generation. Okay, we all were looking at, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, white picket fence, big backyard. You can't find that in Los Angeles now. So if you want to be a first-time home buyer, your first home might be what we used to call a studio apartment, right? It's going to go back to the days of when people were selling duplexes, or if you go in the South, for those of you from the South, a shotgun house, right? It's not going to be real big. It's going to be narrow. It's going to be 2 bedrooms, 1 bath stuck in the middle with a kitchen and maybe a living room. Okay. That's going to be what the new starter home is going to look like. But the truth is, our kids, our grandkids, if we want them to start off, have some home ownership, there's going to have to be that product. It's up to us as a development community to create them and create opportunities for those people. I'm doing a project right now in Seaside, California, next to Cal State Monterey Bay. And one of the things that I'm working overtime for is I have been working on this project for over 7 years, and we haven't broken ground yet. But we are going to have a number of for sale and for rent affordable units. Fort Ord has a 20% affordable requirement. And I am working overtime to figure out how to give the people who live in Seaside a priority for getting the opportunity to get these houses, which is not easy to do with all of the fair housing laws that go on. It's hard. You cannot discriminate, and I'm not going to discriminate. But can I create additional opportunities for local Seaside residents, for the people who have sweated out this project with me and been working on it for the past 7 years? I think I figured it out. But it's that kind of mindset. It's that kind of commitment to our community and to the local economy that it takes for a developer to be able to be successful.
What I like about this Slauson and Wall Street, and I have seen the schematics, and I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to pull that up. And
I just sent you some new ones. I just emailed them to you again.
Okay, well, I'll go in there in just a second. But I want to add to your comment in that while they may have small residential space, what you're doing with this new development with the park and with the art piece that's added to it, you're creating a community space where folks will be able to coalesce. And that's something different for LA compared to growing up in where I grew up in St. Louis or some other places back east. There's been these developments where there's been housing around and even workspace around, but also these open spaces that are available to the community.
Well, here's what I know. The community was promised that years ago that this space was going to be a park, okay? And for whatever the reason, it obviously got targeted for more than just a park, but to be a park and a development with some housing and other resources there. So we wanted to still provide for the community the park that they've been promised, that they need, that they deserve. So at the center of this development, and this is not a park for only the people who reside in the development. This is a city park that the city's going to maintain ownership with. It's going to be a city park surrounded by housing and retail. So everybody will be able to enjoy it. Everybody will be able to shop at the shops. We've got a commitment from Superior Grocers to bring a grocery store to this site. There's a number of different things, but this is going to be a community park. It's going to be a city park where we have a place right in our community where we can, where not only can we, this is currently out of sight looks. Okay, I just sent you the
I'm working on it. Keep talking. Work with the system.
Okay. But this park is going to be at the center of this development, and it's going to give the city, it's going to give you about a 2.5 acre park. That's going to be a city park. I do understand, and I've had people raise the concern that, oh, well, we were promised 4 acres. We were promised a 5-acre park. And I understand, it wasn't me who made that promise, first off. I responded to the RFP as the city requested, which was what kind of development can you put still delivering a park to the community? And what we came up with is about 2.5, 3-acre park. And in addition to that, a number of community space. So that's what the site currently looks like. You see where Brotherhood is and all the rest of it's city-owned land. And, once Robin will be able to change to another one, you'll be able to see what we envision as ultimately a developed site on that exact same location.
For our people outside of Los Angeles, can you tell us where that is, those boundaries on streets?
Sure. So up there towards where Brotherhood, where it says Brotherhood, that right there where the arrow is, that's Slaton Avenue that runs along right there. To the left, to my left, right there, that's Wall Street. So that's the corner of Slaton and Wall, where we're looking at there. That other side over there is Los Angeles Street, right there. So that's it. I'm not.
So that's basically in the downtown area.
So it's Slaton. It's about 3.5 miles from Exposition Park.
Okay.
It's about a mile from the freeway, from the 110 freeway.
That's a nice size spot. That's a nice,
large site.
Yeah, pretty large site there.
Yeah, it's a large flat site. The beauty of having a team, we were talking about this contamination. This development is going to have underground parking. So the beauty of this development is that when they take that contaminated dirt out, we are not going to replace it with new dirt. They're going to dig the hole that we need to create the underground parking.
That's a cost savings, isn't it?
It's cost savings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a cost
Awesome.
savings.
Okay, you know what? You got to come back. You have to come back because this is going to be living. It's going to be a living, breathing project in our backyard, in our community. And it gives us an opportunity, Danny. Thank you so much, because it gives us an opportunity to see development from inception, concept exception to as it unfolds. And we'd appreciate if you would come back from time to time.
I would love to. Robin, check your email and see if you have the picture. I really want people to see the phenomenal work that our architects do. You should have the rendering.
Can you guys see that?
No, you have we only see the one that you just had up. So you got to
okay. Hold up. Wait a minute.
I got to show off our team's work. So I don't want to, at least want to do that. So if you can get it up there.
Yeah. Hold on. Bam, shakalaka, boom, boom.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's nice.
So that is Slaton Avenue that you see right along the front. It's kind of the reverse of what we saw in the previous pictures. And now that is the corner of Slaton and Wall right there at that corner right there where the arrow is.
Mm-hmm.
That building right there at the corner is going to be the new Brotherhood Crusade office complex.
Oh, beautiful.
To the left, that white building right there is the senior housing development. At the bottom, there's a grocery store and some other retail space, as well as then if you look at that corridor that kind of separates the senior housing and Brotherhood. Now go the other way around.
This way, right in here. Mm-hmm.
It connects the street. It guides you into the park. It's also going to have a number of retail shops. There's the park we talked about with an amphitheater and all of that. Along the back is the workforce housing that we talked about previously, as well as at the bottom is some community work. So you saw the vacant site that we had, and now you get to see what our team envisioned on that site. And that is the great work and vision of our development team and Perkins Wills and SOM and all of our development teams. So that now this puts everybody the opportunity to see what we envision for that site.
So Danny, is that rental and home ownership or primarily for rental?
Primarily for rental, but we are having some conversation right now about some possibilities of some for sale units as well along there. So that's one of the things we're looking at right now.
Yeah, that'd be great, because that's the only way we as Black folks can create some wealth or close that wealth gap, is to be able to create some ownership opportunities.
Absolutely.
And where the cost of real estate right now, until the upcoming crash is, which I hear every day, I get a message that that's coming. It's just out of the question for our young people.
Danny, this has been wonderful. Again, this is an opportunity for our community briefing audience to learn the development process. You know, as we're going through this with you, we have so many wonderful comments in the chat box about thanking you and your family for the commitment that you've made to the community, knowing that that you guys hear us, you know, that you see us, you know us, you hear us. And this is just a great thing. And over and above the fact that we certainly would like to be able to have the development team come on to talk about the roles that they play. Drake tried to kick my butt and take my name when I was in the Ross program at USC. So I know he handles his business. He handles his business. And so again, this is a great opportunity for the community to understand the development process. And when I say that, I mean all the nuances that go along, the team building, the schematics, the process in dealing with the city. So again, thank you. We have coming up next is a young man, my friend James Stanton, has a program called Yes to Jobs. And so again, the whole mission here is to create opportunity for youth to be able to participate in some of this stuff that's going on. And early on, we can introduce them to what we're doing and what's going on in the marketplace and where jobs are. You know, the idea of being able to see, Black architects, Black engineers, Black, professional tradespeople. This is just it's a wonderful day for us, you guys. It really, really is. Our time is well spent. Danny, somebody said, how did you get him? I said, you know what? That's my boy. DJ, that type of thing. So it's all relationships, which is what he talked about earlier. So we're going to have James to come on and give us a quick schematic about Yes to Jobs, because they're open for applications right now for our youth. And then we're going to follow that up with our small business correspondent, Colette Moore. James Stanton, can you come on right now? Unmute yourself, baby.
I wanted to make sure I wasn't, making a bunch of noise as Mr. Bakewell was really, and I sat here and learned quite a bit in the last 5 minutes. Good morning. My name is James Stanton. I'm the executive director of a program called Yes to Jobs. That's YES, the number 2 jobs. Our website is yes2jobs.org. We are servicing 16 to 25-year-old young people, Black and brown folks primarily. And the way we do that is by exposing them to professional branding and leadership development, with a focus on trying to change the economic paradigm for Black and brown people in what has been termed as underserved communities and under-resourced communities. And we've been focusing on doing that in the areas of media, finance, digital technology, biotech, and healthcare services and finance. And we've existed for quite some time. We sort of experienced a long period of dormancy and have revived ourselves, resurrected ourselves in summer of 2020. We were all prepared and ready to go for 2020, and then the pandemic happened, and so we've had to pivot and shift. And our main concern was whether or not we were going to be able to provide the kind of experience that we've prided ourselves on providing in the past, given the fact that we weren't going to be able to actually put people to work in internships like we had in the past because of the pandemic. And many vendors, many of our employers had not figured out how they could do internships in a virtual way. That has sort of been evolving, and we are finding opportunity and trying to direct some of our participants to those opportunities. But the thing that we have discovered, and they have really borne out for us, is that the information and the exposure and the preparation that they've received has been the most valuable thing that they have received in our program. We pride ourselves on a three-pronged approach. We do what we call our intern to VP program, which really does introduce them to themselves, who they are, what they have to offer, and what they need to acquire in order to move forward on their own personal roadmaps. Then we do our Get the Job training, which is really about preparing them with resume coaching, putting them with professionals who actually can help them to do that, prepare their resumes, prepare them for interviews the way that it's happening now. No longer are people really necessarily walking in and sitting down, but what happens virtually it's a little bit of a different rhythm, and really exposing them to what networking really is and how to build their network, and understanding that their very first network will be the cohort that they're involved in at the time. And Yes to Jobs, it all starts there, and then it radiates from there. The third and final piece that we do is we actually put them in front of professionals like some of you who represent the different areas and different careers, where they actually have an opportunity to exchange, ask questions, and do some impromptu problem solving with some of these professionals in the form of some workshop kinds of excuse me, activities. We had someone actually walk them through what it's like to actually develop a streaming platform. A lot of people are disconnecting and cord cutting, but really breaking down for them what that looks like and how you actually develop a streaming platform, and all of the bits and pieces that need to be considered when you're actually developing this new outlet for distributing media. So, we've really had a great time over this past year. We just had our second summer wrap up, and we've got a number of young people who are really taking full advantage. As one of our interns, our participants, connected with some of our presenters who have a live production company. They produce live events, concerts, and as well as streaming events. And he talked about his filmmaking and screenwriting. He's a budding director, and they quickly connected and introduced him to a company that is actually looking for and developing filmmakers and producers. And he's already had a couple of meetings planning out his first project that will actually be produced at a professional level. And so we are about the business of creating opportunity for young people and introducing them to these opportunities, and getting them to actually come back and actually share that, and introduce introduce or present opportunities to future cohorts as well, so that we continue to really open up the pipeline and continue to develop the pipeline, so that
You
we
guys,
can actually change.
James is a behind the scenes person, and I kind of twisted his arm and made him to come on here, okay? Because again, it is our youth that he's focused on. Again, this is yes2jobs.org. James spent many years in digital media for BET. James sings like a songbird. He's like, I call him the next iteration of his dad, which is really the next iteration of Luther Vandross.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, this the dude, the boy can sing, not just sing, sing, okay? And so, he doesn't like me calling it out, but I wanted you to know that these opportunities are out there. They are looking for youth to apply for these positions. They've opened it up. He started in the entertainment industry, and he's opened it up to some other industries because the opportunities abound. but what happens is we have to be ready for the opportunity, right? And so as he talked about the fact that they're preparing people for finding themselves, marketing themselves, and positioning themselves to be able to compete. And so, James, again, thank you for your time. We put your contact information and any additional information you want to put in the chat box. Give us again the age range and the timing for the applications and when the interviews will start.
We are talking about 16 to 25-year-old young people. Interviews are going to be starting the first week of October. Applications need to be in by September 24th. And we're actually doing an informational presentation on Saturday, day after tomorrow. I'm actually trying to find that doggone link so that I can drop that in there so that people can know that they can actually log
James,
on.
I put my contact information. I send something directly to you. Could you give me a call? I work with, I teach kids how to be entrepreneurs. So with the Urban League. And I also am involved in a tennis program where we have young kids coming in and out of college. And I have access to a lot of young people. And so please give me a call. I'd like to be able to connect some of my networks to what you have. I primarily dedicate my time to young people and making sure that there are opportunities for them.
James, also, we'll post your information to all those that are on our distribution list. The Community Briefing has over 700 email addresses. So if you have not given your email address, please forward that to Community Briefing, Krista Mitchell. At the end, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Stephen Turner. I'm with the Slaton Group. We're a risk management insurance firm specializing in workers' comp and general liability.
Wonderful. One of the things that we are always looking for when we talk about resume coaching and interview coaching.
Access to capital, where to go. Colette?
So James, thank you so much. We'd love to have you come back on as a guest. And I have another show that I'd love to have you on. And Fantastic. Now we're going to turn it over to Miss Colette Moore.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and thank you all. And good to hear, James, all the great work you're doing, and Danny, fellow SC alum. So great to see that beautiful project going on and the focus on knowing your numbers. Thank you for sharing that. Everybody know your numbers. There's one other thing I just wanted to put into the chat. I saw that, I'm not sure if he's still on, Lamont had asked about or mentioned a technology lab. Yes. So I wanted to share, there is a resource here. It's with the city, and we partner with them for a couple of presentations here with PCR SBDC. I'm putting that in. I'm not sure if you all knew, there's a huge resource with the Central Library here in LA that they have an actual maker's lab. And so it's the Patent and Trademark Resource Center. I would encourage you all to see the librarians there. They can help you with trademark searches, patents as well, but they also have a maker's lab there. So whether it's videos, they have plastics, metalworking. So they have a lab. This is part of your tax dollar. So if you are a maker of sorts, make sure to use this as a resource. It's a highly valuable resource that I was not aware of. They presented for us a couple of times, but I put in that information there. So just please let them know that PCR SBDC sent you, and hopefully you can get some great information that'll be of value to you. So just wanted to say PCR SBDC here to help businesses start, grow, and succeed. And I know we're a little short on time, but there are a couple of key updates that I wanted to share with you. One is the EIDL. Last week, EIDL enhancements were announced by the SBA. All of you should have applied for EIDL if you had any impact, negative impact for COVID. It's not too late, but now is the time. All of this information will be in here in terms of some key policy changes that have occurred, but there are a couple of key ones. One is that there's a deferment now for 24 months. The amount has gone up to $2 million, but depending, and the rate are still the same. But one of the things that they have finally identified is a credit score. You know, for months we have gone by and not known what the credit score was. We're like, we think, we don't know. Nobody shared it, but they've actually provided a minimum credit score for the first time here of 570. Again, no collateral. If it's under 25 grand, no personal guarantee. And then they've also expanded how the commercial debt payment option. So you can use it to prepay some commercial debt that you have, and then also some federal debt. If you need to get more information on this, you can come to our Wednesday workshop next week. It'll be at noon. And then you can also meet with one of our advisors. If you have not done this EIDL, though, now is the time. And they have a short window. So for businesses under $500,000, it's up to October 8th. The timeline should be a 3-week turnaround. And so if you have not applied, I encourage you to. If you're still having trouble, get some help. We have been able to help people through, I'll call it the quagmire of the SBA. But if you have not, now is the time, because the money is going to end and it's the cheapest money that you can get. All of this is going to be in the presentation, and I'm going to drop the link in for you. And just know that if you had, like, for $150,000 loan, your monthly payments with the EIDL close to $670. With a standard SBA, and they are still available, it would be about over $2,000. So this is the time to get this cheaper money. Also, PPP loan forgiveness. How many of you all have gotten your PPP loan forgiveness? Okay, Robin. All right, Michelle. How does that feel to have your slate wiped clean? That's what we want for everybody on this call. If you've applied for that loan, get it wiped away. Ardina, get on it. Follow up with your banker. Get that loan taken care of so that that debt is eliminated from your books. And it's a wonderful sign. I was sharing with Robin, my husband. He was like, it's not even on the bank records anymore. It's like it never happened. What a wonderful thing. You got the money and the debt never happened. And so make sure that you get that paid. And please come. There's a workshop every Thursday, and we're doing this until I've heard that everybody has gotten their forgiveness. And so we are still doing it every Thursday to make sure that you all know how to make this happen. The California Relief Grant did kick off last week. If you did not apply, now is the time for that. This information will be in the link if you need help, and it's going through September 30th. And then just a note for those not-for-profit, if you have a cultural institution, it was extended to the 30th as well. This is a new grant I found. Is Comcast Rise, and I checked to make sure Comcast Business is in our area. There's a loan for some free marketing, creative, and media. So for some of you, this could be a really great opportunity to get some free services or significantly discounted services. And it is for small businesses owned by people of color. So application ends by October 16th. The link is here for your benefit. The Black Business Coalition, or Coalition to Black Businesses, that is coming up. Express interest, you can start now. So it started September 14th. The link is there and will be available to you. Then a variety of workshop or funding resources. These are still open. Some of them, though, are closing soon. 9/20 for that I Fund Women. Jane Walker's October. Women's Business Council coming up end of September as well. And then I just wanted to remind you all of that California Rent Relief Program. This is for landlords and for tenants. If you own property, your tenants are having trouble, they should apply. You can also apply directly and then bring them in. So please use this resource that is available, and that is a state resource. Then last thing, just wanted, we've been talking about resources, money. We want to get our customers back too. One of the things that we found is that in the Black and Brown communities, customers have not come back as quickly as in white communities. And so because our clients were impacted more negatively by COVID. So we've got to come and figure out how do we get our clients back, but how do we do it efficiently and profitably? So I encourage you to join us. We're doing this with Soul Folks and Wells Fargo. This is going to be Monday from 2 to 3:30. We'll be covering a lot of different areas, everything from some marketing, product mix, variety of things, and some tools, POS tools as well. Get your customers back, get some tools that are going to help your business. And so I encourage you to register for that. We have a list of workshops here. You can scan if you like. The presentation is here. And you're about to get the whole thing, Carmen, in the chat. I'm going to put the whole presentation in here so you'll have all of this information. If you need assistance, contact PCR SBDC and you can use our info box there. So that's it for me. A lot of information, good updates. Get your idol, know your numbers, everyone. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Colette. That was pretty awesome. I'm going to share a lot of that information on the Business Zone. We need to get you back over there as well. And I know personally a client of mine that just was accepted and got her 100% rental money for being a renter. I mean, it's going to be sizable, close to 20 grand. So if you guys haven't done that, you really truly need to do that and share that with our young people who are renting. If not, they're gonna come back home and live with you, mom and dad. So kind of get that information out there. That's the alternative to that. And we also want to make sure, you know, there's so many people, so many of our people in our community that are on the streets that are living homeless. I'm not gonna say without a house, I'm gonna call it what it is. It's homeless, without a house, without a roof. And we want to make sure that that does not happen, because that number could actually triple. And we already went through that in 2008 with so many people losing their homes and their apartments. We want to make sure. So share this information. Do not keep all this information that you guys hear to your breast. Pass it on. That's the purpose of being a community, is sharing and supporting each other. Want to send a shout out for all those. We got Robert Cicito, we have Linda Sams from the LA South Chamber of Commerce, we have John May, we have Sharon Coleman, and I think earlier we had Edwin Lombard from the Chamber, California Chamber. So thank you guys for all supporting us. Colette, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Danny. And everyone that has been out. Stephen, are you still here? Did you want to introduce, or did Marcelo already leave?
I'd like to thank everyone for joining today. I know that we're over time. I want you to tune in for next week, where we have a representative from the Los Angeles County EDC, talk about some of the resources available for small and minority business, particularly those of African descent. Tune in next week.
All righty. Have a great week, guys. Be safe. We're still in a pandemic. Mask up.
Stay safe. Yes.
And make sure we get vaccinated so that we can get out of this place.
Oh, and Michael Banner got his landlord check.
Who got his landlord check? Yeah. Who got his landlord check?
Yeah. Michael Banner.
All righty, good. And landlords, if you encourage your tenants to apply for the rent relief, you'll get your check too. So go to your tenants and tell them to sign up. All righty, guys.
All right, take care, guys.
Week. Be safe, and we'll see you next Thursday.
See everyone next week.
Okay, Crystal, how do we get those updates?
The updates are I actually put all of the chat into the show on YouTube. So I actually copy and paste all the chat and all the information there. So you can go over to the Business Zone, to the community briefing. Just Google community briefing for YouTube and it'll pop up and you'll see all the links there. And you can also hit those 3 little dots and save the chat for yourself.
Great. Okay. Thanks.
All righty. So
and I want to thank all these campers that dialed in, because they fret was on program.
I had to throw up my colors. I had to throw my colors up there now. You know, come on.
I see my Divine Nine family. My Divine Nine family. I see you.
Yeah. I had to represent.
I see. We had some competition going on there.
Mutual respect. Mutual respect.
Take care, guys.
new name. So glad to see you guys came out. We had a good one today. Danny brought out everybody.
Yeah, as usual. Yeah, take care,
Right.
guys.
All righty, guys. We are going off live now, and we